Welcome to Darren's Book Nook. I'm Darren.
I'm Sarah. We're going to be digging into Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. It's pretty amazing this book came out during the Great Depression when things were, really tough for a lot of folks.
Yeah, what's wild is that Hill's ideas still hold up today, even almost 100 years later. Our economy is always changing so much.
Yeah, this deep dive is all about how you can use Hill's ideas in your own life today. And Hill doesn't mess around. Right off the bat, he says there's a magic formula for success.
Right, and get this, he got it from Andrew Carnegie, the steel tycoon.
Talk about a big claim, but this guy, Hill, he spent over 20 years researching, talked to over 500 successful people.
More than just like motivational stuff, It's based on what real people did.
Exactly. And he names names too, like Arthur Nash, the tailor, saved his whole business using this formula. Or Stuart Austin Weir, a lawyer, turned his life around.
Even Senator Jennings Randolph and Thomas Edison are in there. And Edison barely went to school.
Yeah, Hill's making a point. Education isn't everything. It's your mindset, how you use these ideas.
The first step is burning desire.
Not just wanting something, like a total obsession.
Right. It makes me think of Edwin Barnes. This guy was so determined to work with Edison, not even for him, that he rode a freight train to get there.
Wow. No connections, no money.
He just had that drive, and it made him resourceful.
That's something a lot of people can relate to, feeling stuck because they think they don't have enough.
But Barnes shows that sheer willpower, it can beat those obstacles.
Yeah.
Makes you think, what's your burning desire? What would you do anything to get?
Okay, so you've got that fire in you. Hill says the next step is faith.
Like totally believing your goal is possible, not some daydream.
It's not blind optimism though, right? It's like deep down, you know it can happen. Kind of like Henry Ford. Insisted his engineers had to make a V8 engine.
They told him impossible.
He said, I want it, I'll get it. Didn't accept impossible. That belief, that faith made him persistent.
And they made the engine. It's not just faith, it's action fueled by faith. But there's another piece here, the subconscious mind.
Whoa, getting deep now.
Hill says it's like a programming tool. Your dominant thoughts, they become reality.
So if you dwell on the bad stuff,
you get more of it, yeah. Focus on success, it becomes more likely. Hill's own story about his son, born without ears, shows this.
Oh yeah, he believed his son would hear one day.
And according to Hill, the son did eventually hear. It's a powerful example. What we believe, what we feed, our subconscious, it can really affect things.
So what are you feeding your subconscious? Are you giving it hope? Or just letting doubts take over?
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Those thoughts we keep replaying, they can actually shape our reality. But alongside all this, Hill says you need specialized knowledge.
Not just any knowledge.
Right, the expertise that's specifically about your goal. General knowledge is good, but targeted knowledge, that's what builds wealth, according to Hill.
Even Carnegie, the steel guy, admitted he wasn't a tech expert. He had his mastermind group for that, people with different skills.
Like a team, boosting each other.
That's encouraging, because maybe you don't have fancy degrees, but you're good at leading, bringing people together.
That's a kind of expertise too.
Right.
Okay, you've got desire, faith, your subconscious is primed, you've got the know-how.
You know what?
Now it's time for organized planning. Making those dreams into actual steps, that's where the rubber meets the road. Think about Charles Schwab, the guy who got J.P. Morgan to create U.S. Steel.
Wow, the world's first billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah. And he did it with a super detailed plan, showing he could communicate clearly, even about complicated things.
It's a good reminder. A good plan can make anyone successful. Schwab wasn't famous before that, but that plan, it took him to the top. Now, there's this chapter in Think and Grow Rich that's really interesting.
It Hill's 6 Ghosts of Fear.
Yeah, we've all met these ghosts.
Indecision, doubt, worry, being too cautious, putting things off, and fear of criticism.
Internal stuff that can mess you up before you even start.
It's not just naming them, though. Hill talks about how fear shows up, not just mentally, but physically, too. Anxiety, insomnia.
Self-sabotaging behavior.
All from fear. It goes back to the subconscious. These thoughts, if you let them take root, they become self-fulfilling prophecies. Vicious cycle.
So how do you break free? Does Hill have an answer?
He does. Persistence. Sticking to your goal, no matter what gets in the way.
Like Fannie Hurst, the writer. Publishers kept rejecting her, but she kept going.
Even after she was successful, one story got rejected 117 times before it was published. Shows you, setbacks happen to everyone.
Wow, that's dedication. But it all goes back to that burning desire.
Exactly. Without it, you're just being stubborn. But with it, persistence is a superpower. Hill actually lists 30 things that cause failure. He wants you to use it like a checklist, see what applies to you. Not to dwell on the past, but to learn from it.
And he talks about all sorts of things, not having a clear goal, being afraid of what people will say.
And those fears, they can be deep in our subconscious, tough to overcome.
It's like he's saying, look inside yourself. Not to blame yourself, but to understand what's holding you back. Even the big successes, like Henry Ford, they had challenges too.
Right. Ford didn't just get lucky. He created his own opportunities. And that persistence, that's key. He turned, I never had a chance, into I made my own chance.
Powerful stuff. Okay, so we're being persistent, facing our fears, working on those things that trip us up.
But there's something else Hill talks about that's really important, imagination.
Imagination, like daydreaming.
He says there are two types, synthetic imagination, which is like remixing old ideas, and then there's creative imagination.
This is where it gets really interesting.
This is where you tap into something bigger, what he calls infinite intelligence. It's like the source of all knowledge and power. And Hill gives you actual techniques for doing this, like visualization.
That's something a lot of successful people talk about.
And then there's invisible counselors.
Okay, now I'm really curious. What's that?
Hill would actually imagine himself having meetings with famous people he admired. Historical figures, great thinkers.
Like Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Edison, that kind of thing.
Exactly. A brainstorming session with the best minds ever. He used it to get new perspectives, learn from the best.
That's a cool technique. It shows how important it is to keep learning, find wisdom from all sorts of places, even unexpected ones.
Now we talked about the 6 ghosts of fear, right? Well, Hill has specific ways to fight each one, like indecision. It often comes from fear of making the wrong choice. He says get all the info you need, weigh your options, and then decide with confidence. Don't look back.
It's about trusting yourself, being willing to act even when you're not sure, and breaking down big, scary goals into smaller steps so you don't get overwhelmed.
And then there's fear of criticism. Don't let it paralyze you. Use it to get better. Learn from it, detach from the sting, get valuable insights.
Like develop a thick skin. Not everyone's going to get your vision. It's about trusting your gut.
And procrastination, oh boy, that's a tough one. Hill's advice is simple, just start.
He's big on taking that first step, even if it's tiny. Break the task down, set deadlines, create some urgency.
The hardest part is usually just overcoming that inertia, that resistance. Once you get going, it often gets easier. And remember the mastermind group.
Oh yeah, the power of surrounding yourself with the right people.
People who get you, support your goals.
Hill says it can make your success explode just by having that team. He suggests finding people with different skills, different perspectives, so you can brainstorm together, help each other through tough times, stay motivated.
Like your own personal board of advisors. It's about using that collective wisdom, accomplishing things you couldn't do alone. You know, even though Hill focuses on financial success, a lot of these ideas apply to anything you want to achieve. Like what we were talking about earlier, the power of the subconscious mind.
Yeah, it applies to relationships, health, everything.
It's about realizing our thoughts and beliefs, they create our reality. It's not about wishing and hoping, it's about understanding that what we focus on, we attract. If we're negative all the time, that's what we'll get. But if we focus on the positive, that's what we'll bring into our lives.
So we're creating our own reality, whether we realize it or not.
Right. And Hill says, don't just think about it, take action. Knowing something is useless unless you use it. You got to experiment, try things out, learn as you go, and don't be afraid to fail.
Hill actually encourages failure, sees it as a chance to learn. So many successful people, they failed over and over before they made it big.
It's about bouncing back, getting stronger, wiser. Now, one of the things that might seem out there is Hill's idea of sex transmutation. He says that sexual energy is super powerful, but instead of suppressing it or going overboard, you can channel it towards your goals.
Whoa, that's a new one.
It takes maturity, self-awareness to use this idea right. Hill thought if you harness this energy the right way, you can boost your creativity, focus, and drive.
And he gives examples of people throughout history who had strong libidos and also achieved amazing things.
It's about understanding this energy and using it constructively so it doesn't control you. But as you read Think and Grow Rich, you see that Hill didn't just care about money. He wanted people to have success in every area of life, personal growth, relationships.
Making a difference in the world.
He believed true success comes from aligning your actions with your values, using your talents to help others. He was big on having a positive mental attitude, being grateful, focusing on the good in yourself and others. He thought how you view life it really affects what happens to you. And even though he wrote this almost 100 years ago, his ideas about positive thinking are still relevant today. Studies show that your thoughts and feelings affect your physical health, your relationships, everything.
It's not just about money, it's about having a life that's full of purpose, meaning, happiness. And Hill says anyone can achieve this no matter where they come from if they use the principles in his book. It's about taking control of your thoughts, beliefs, and actions, creating the life you want.
Now, not everyone agrees with everything Hill says. Some people think he focuses too much on individual achievement, that it could lead to people being unethical or only caring about themselves.
That's a good point. It's important to think critically about these ideas. Remember that they came from a different time.
Right, you need to have a strong ethical framework. Hill himself said that real wealth comes from giving back to others, making the world a better place. So it's about finding that balance between achieving your own goals and making a positive contribution to society.
It's like your success is connected to everyone else's well-being. Okay, we've covered a lot here. Burning desire, faith, the subconscious mind, specialized knowledge, organized planning, those 6 ghosts of fear, persistence, and the mastermind. Think and Grow Rich has so many great insights that you can use in any area of your life.
We've only scratched the surface. I encourage you to go back and read the book, really dig into those 30 causes of failure, see what speaks to you.
And don't forget what Hill said, success usually doesn't come easy. It takes work, dedication, pushing yourself outside your comfort zone.
But if you're willing to do that, the rewards can be amazing. It's about aligning your thoughts, beliefs, and actions, and then working consistently, even when it's hard.
And remember, we're all on a journey, learning and growing. Just like Hill sought advice from his invisible counselors, you can find inspiration and support from others. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep pushing yourself. Who knows what you'll achieve?
Hill says, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Think about that. It's that self-discovery, that can really lead to those aha moments. And Hill's work, even though it's about money, it gives you a framework for any goal, really. Understanding how powerful our minds are, using that to create what we want.
It's like he gives you this mental toolbox, right? Strategies and stuff that work for tons of people, like auto-suggestion that ties into the subconscious mind stuff we talked about.
Oh yeah, auto-suggestion. Basically, you're feeding your subconscious mind these positive statements about your goals over and over again. It's like replacing those negative thoughts with thoughts that support your vision.
So not just thinking positive every once in a while, but really hammering it in, changing those deep down beliefs, almost like reprogramming your brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Hill gives you instructions, like write down your goals and what you want to believe, then say them out loud like you really mean it. Best times are right before you sleep and when you wake up.
Because your subconscious is more open then, right?
Yeah.
Planting seeds in good soil. Okay, back to those 6 ghosts of fear for a sec. Hill actually gives you ways to deal with each one, like indecision, which is often just fear of messing up. He says, get all the facts, think about your choices, and then decide. Don't second guess yourself.
Yeah, trust your gut, take action, even if you're a little unsure. And he says, break down those big goals into smaller pieces, so you don't freak out and you can build momentum as you go.
Right, small wins keep you going. And then there's that fear of criticism. Hill says, don't let it stop you. Use it to learn and grow. Separate yourself from the emotion. See if there's anything useful you can take from it.
It's like, toughen up. Not everyone's going to be on board with what you're doing. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
And procrastination, man, that one's a killer. Hill's advice is so simple, it's almost funny. Just start.
Just do it, right? He says, break things down into chunks, give yourself deadlines, make it feel urgent.
It's getting over that initial hump that's the hardest. Once you start moving, things usually get easier. We talked about the mastermind group before. Hill was all about that, finding your tribe, your support system.
Yeah, surrounding yourself with people who are on the same page, who get what you're trying to do.
People who can give you advice, encourage you, keep you accountable.
Hill said it can multiply your success. He liked the idea of having people with different skills in the group, different ways of looking at things.
Like having your own brain trust, bouncing ideas around, getting through tough times together. Even though Hill is mainly talking about financial success, a lot of what he says can be used for anything you want to achieve, like the subconscious mind stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. Applies to relationships, your health, everything.
It's about realizing that our thoughts and beliefs actually shape our reality. Not just wishing and hoping, but understanding that we attract what we focus on.
If you're constantly negative.
You'll get more negativity. But focus on the positive. You'll bring more of that into your life.
We're creating our own reality, whether we're aware of it or not.
Powerful stuff. And Hill says, don't just think about it, take action. Knowledge is useless unless you use it. Try things out, experiment, make mistakes. Don't be afraid to fail.
He's a big believer in learning from failure. Lots of successful people messed up tons of times before they hit it big.
It's about bouncing back, getting stronger and smarter each time. One of the things Hill talks about that might seem a little out there is sex transmutation. He says sexual energy is a powerful force, but instead of suppressing it or going overboard, you can channel it towards your goals.
Oh, okay, I gotta hear more about this.
It takes maturity, self-awareness to use this right. Hill thought if you harness that energy correctly, it can fuel your creativity, focus, and drive.
He actually points to people in history who were known for having a high sex drive and who also accomplished incredible things.
Interesting, right? It's about understanding that energy and using it constructively, not letting it rule you. But if you look deeper into Think and Grow Rich, you see that Hill wasn't just about money. He wanted people to succeed in all areas of life, personal growth, relationships.
Making a difference.
He believed true success is about aligning your actions with your values, using your talents to benefit others, having a positive attitude, being grateful, seeing the good in yourself and other people. How you view life, it really does affect how things turn out.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
Yeah, and even though he wrote this a long time ago, what he says about positive thinking is backed up by research today. Studies show your thoughts and feelings actually impact your health, your relationships, everything.
It's not just about money. It's about having a life with purpose, meaning happiness.
And Hill said, anyone can achieve this, no matter their background, if they use the principles in his book. It's about taking control of your thoughts, beliefs, and actions, creating the life you want.
It's empowering, isn't it? But some people say Hill focuses too much on individual achievement, that it could lead to people being unethical or selfish.
That's a fair point. We have to be aware that these ideas came from a different time.
Right, you need a strong moral compass. And Hill himself said that real wealth comes from helping others, making the world a better place.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance, achieving your goals, while also contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Your success is tied to everyone else's. It's really something how Hill brings all these ideas together, right? Personal ambition, helping others, the power of belief, all part of his success philosophy.
He saw success as this multifaceted thing. It's not just about money or what other people think, but living a life that has purpose, meaning doing good in the world.
So after all this deep diving into Think and Grow Rich, what are the big takeaways for someone listening today? What can they actually use in their own life right now?
One of the most important things Hill says is that your thoughts are incredibly powerful. He believed they actually create your reality.
Not like magic or just wishing for stuff.
No, but your thoughts drive your actions, what you believe, and that leads to results.
It's about taking charge of your own mind, choosing to focus on what's possible, not just what's holding you back.
Exactly. And that brings us to another big point. You've got to get your mindset aligned with your goals. That means building up those qualities that lead to success. That burning desire, unwavering faith, and never giving up.
So it's not enough to just want something really bad.
Right, you can't just sit back and wish. You got to be all in, mentally and physically. See those goals in your mind, believe you can get them, and then go after them every single day.
Action. Don't forget about the mastermind either. Hill was big on surrounding yourself with the right crew.
People who get you, support you, push you to be better.
He said it's like this secret weapon for success.
It's true. He thought the best groups had people with different strengths, different viewpoints, so they could brainstorm, help each other through rough patches, stay motivated.
It's about realizing you don't have to do everything by yourself. Find those people who complement you. And Hill actually gives advice on dealing with fear. Those 6 ghosts of fear we talked about, he wants you to find them, face them.
He says, figure out what's holding you back, those fears lurking in the dark, and then deal with them. He suggests things like autosuggestion, using positive self-talk. Remember, you're in control of your mind. You can choose how to react.
Fear is often just in our heads. We can choose to overcome it. Choose courage, choose action. Another thing that stuck with me was Hill's emphasis on helping others. He said real wealth comes from giving back, providing value.
It's not just about getting rich yourself. It's about making the world a better place, using your talents to help other people.
We all win, right? Your success is connected to everyone else's.
Yeah.
Exactly. We've gone over a lot of stuff, but Hill's book is packed with wisdom and practical advice. I'd say go back and read it again, especially that part about the 30 causes of failure. See what hits home for you.
And Hill reminds us, achieving your dreams, it usually takes work, dedication, getting uncomfortable.
You got to be willing to face challenges, keep going when things get tough, never give up on your vision. The journey might not be easy, but Hill shows us the payoff can be amazing.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into Think and Grow Rich. Hope you got some good nuggets of wisdom and some tools to use in your own life.
And remember, you're always learning and growing. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep pushing yourself.
If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep learning.